Hey there, hello and welcome back. Tony Caliendo with Rethink Coaching. So glad to have you here with us. We're going to go ahead and jump in today to Module 4, and we're going to learn a lot today that will help you as you move forward with buyers. So let's go ahead and share our PowerPoint here so we can get started. So again, welcome. This is your launch coaching program, Tony Caliendo, the coaching director here. And always available for you if you have any questions. I know we're moving at a fairly quick pace, and I'm just going to let you know that from this point forward, the homework and commitments are going to increase a bit. So please feel free to reach out if you ever have any questions or concerns. We're going to talk today, like I said, about buyers. This is about qualifying buyers and a buyer consultation. So in an ideal world, if we're completely honest, it would be fabulous to work with strictly sellers. I mean, that would just be really ideal. I know in the beginning, it may not seem like it because there's a skill set that we learn when we're working with sellers. However, it is the best leverage that you can have for now and throughout your career. We will be working with buyers. And today's intention is to help you set yourself up so that when you do work with a buyer, that you are receiving and getting the most qualified, ready, willing, and able buyers that will move forward with you and cause you the least amount of challenges. And after all, that's what we're here for. So we're going to talk about qualifying buyers. We're going to go over a buyer consultation, which is pretty lengthy, and it's one that you'll want to start to utilize immediately as you start to identify some buyers through your lead generation. So first, I want to say safety first. I'm going to really encourage everybody to take a safety class from either your local board or your public service department on taking safety precautions if and when you're working with buyers. Let's be 100% honest. You are taking a stranger, unless they're a referral and somebody you know, you're taking a stranger into a vacant home, whether it's technically occupied or not. You're going to be spending some time in a home by yourself with someone you may or may not know very well. And so this is not meant to scare anybody. I've shown thousands of homes and knock wood, never had any issues. However, I think being prepared was the thing that made me confident in going out and showing buyers to homes. So I would highly encourage you to take the safety class. There's just some basic things to do that you can set up and create some safety nets for yourself. And this is what I will say, whatever standard you set for meeting a buyer, whether it's somebody you know or not, you need to use the same standards across the board so you do not run into any situation where somebody accuses you of discriminating or treating them differently. You just want to make sure that you are consistent in your standards of what you do and what you require for buyers. So for example, some agents require buyers that they've never met to allow them to photocopy their driver's license and put that in a file or share with somebody that they know, just so they know who they're working with. Some agents, and this is what I would highly, highly recommend that you do, require a buyer consultation before you ever go into a vacant home with a person that you don't know. I think this really is the reason a lot of agents do this is it helps test the legitimacy of that person. Not to say that if you met them at a Starbucks or you met them at a shared office space that they, have less odds of being someone you wouldn't want to work with. However, it does seem to lessen things a bit. And if somebody is unwilling to meet with you first, it may be a sign that might be somebody you do not want to work with. So just please go take a safety course, talk to your broker if they have any tips on what to do and what your standards could be in protecting yourself and your clients and your family, and honestly, the homeowners while you're out showing property. So again, standards for meeting buyers, and you must use it on all buyers. So just make sure you're clear on that and you're not setting yourself up for any challenges. So as we continue to talk about everything buyers, we talked about this, buyer presentations. Buyer presentation, buyer consultation does one thing. It really helps you understand what that potential buyer is looking for in purchasing a home, will help you not waste so much time. And it also sets the stage that you are a very serious business owner and allows the client, the buyer, to feel like they've really been heard, because you're going to talk to them about their needs and wants. You're going to talk to them about their timeline. There's a lot that we'll go over in the buyer consultation that you'll see When you do it correctly, you are crystal clear on what that buyer is looking for, and it will help in your searches, and it will help make the client feel like they are not wasting their time by looking at homes that absolutely do not meet their needs. So the next thing you want to be comfortable with, and this is what I would encourage you to do now before you get a buyer, identify a couple of lenders that you are comfortable working with. And so ask around, ask your fellow peers in your brokerage, outside your brokerage, who they use and recommend as a lender partner, and make sure you're comfortable referring a client to them, because a lot of times buyers will show up and they've not talked to a lender because they're embarrassed, or they want to go look at what they can afford or what they think they can afford prior to engaging a lender. And it's actually the opposite of what you want to happen. You want them to meet with a lender early on, so nobody is disappointed. I've seen it happen before where a buyer thinks that they can afford a $500,000 home, and then they meet with the lender because of their debt or because of some other things going on. They only qualify for a $350,000 home, which is still a lot of money. Yet there's a big difference between what a $350,000 home provides and a $500,000 home. So spend some time making sure that you've got a comfortable relationship with a couple of lenders, that you are comfortable having the conversation with your potential buyers, that they go get pre-approved before you show homes, and they are really understanding of what they can and they cannot afford. I think a really important conversation for us to have with clients is, just because you're qualified to spend $500,000 may not mean that's what you should spend per month. So really have a heart-to-heart with them about what their monthly payment could be that they would be comfortable with, because I promise you, as they get further into the process and they start to have the reality of what those payments are going to be, if you do not get that cleared up in the beginning, you might run into some challenges as you move forward. So make sure you've got some lender partnerships set up, and make sure that you are super comfortable talking to your client about the importance of meeting with a lender. The other thing I'm going to talk to you about is buyer representation, buyer agreement, whatever your state may call it. It's really important. In what the buyer representation does is it forms a level of commitment between you and the potential buyer. It's an agreement that they sign, a buyer representation, buyer agreement, buyer broker rep, whatever your local state or broker calls it. It is an agreement stating that the buyer is committed to working with you. And in doing so, when they find the perfect home, or they find a home go under contract, you will be compensated your due commission. So get with your broker, talk about anything commission related that you need to learn, find out how and when they require this documentation. I will tell you, most states, this document is more than just a contract or an agreement between agent and buyer. It also will include things to review so the client understands what your relationship with them would be. Some states you have agency, some states you don't. Some states you can do intermediary, some states you can't. Some states you can represent both parties and call it something other than intermediary. It's really important that when we do and work with the buyer and engage with them, we have a buyer representation signed by them. It is a form of protection for you, and it's also a form of protection for the client and your broker. So get comfortable with what the buyer rep looks like for your state or your local board. You can find the documents typically in your in zip forms, or your broker may have a copy of the buyer representation form on file somewhere that you could lean into and use if they're not using a state promulgated form. I want to talk to you, though, right now about a buyer consultation and the importance of it. So I'm going to flip screens here on us for just a minute. Buyer consultation, I really wish this is something I would have done early in my career. And I will tell you, if there was one thing I would have done differently, this is it. I would have really leaned into the power of a buyer consultation. And this is why. Many times as a new agent, I would get an inquiry or a lead, and I was so excited about the lead that I would rush out and meet somebody at a house that I'd never met, never qualified, never had a conversation with. And by the time I was done showing the property, I might have learned some information that I would have loved to have known on the front end that would have saved me time and a lot of grief. For instance, showing a house to someone, and then all of a sudden at the end of the conversation, they're going to say, well, we're going to check with our agent and see what we want to do next. And you're like, you're going to do what? And it was simply because I didn't take a moment to ask some important questions to find out that they might have just called me because the listing was with my broker and they don't understand that it's not my listing and I'm not going to get compensated, but their agent might have been on vacation, or I've heard, hey, I didn't want to bother my agent. There's a lot of reasons why a buyer consultation is extremely important. The main reason is to establish a professional relationship between you and the client. So I'm going to run through this buyer consultation with you. We're going to review it, and this is available for you to download. And I would really encourage for you to practice this with somebody in the program, or practice it on a family member or a friend. Running through what the buyer consultation will feel like for you when you're sitting across the table at a coffee shop, on a Zoom call, whatever that looks like for you. I'm meeting with the buyer for the first time. So this is where you're going to set a standard. Will you or will you not meet a buyer at a home prior to going over a buyer consultation? Will you or will you not meet a buyer at a home prior to signing a buyer representation? And this is what you want to implement across the board. So let's just say we're going to use this buyer consultation for everybody that we meet. So really, buyer consultation is going to run through pretty quickly. Thanks so much for being here today. It's really important that I have a complete understanding of your desires to buy a home. I appreciate you taking the time to answer the following questions with me. I have 3 goals for us today. Discover everything that's important to you about the home you desire to purchase, evaluate the options for your purchase, and to see if we're the right match to work together for your home purchase. I love that 3rd question because it creates the space that you may decide they're not somebody you choose to work with, and they may decide you're not somebody they choose to work with. You're going to come to that conclusion at the end of this. Also, I'm going to remind you, we're working with a buyer. So we will use the word home, not house. Remember, home is where the heart is. We get attached emotionally to a home. So when you're working with the buyer, you want to use the term home to create that energetic connection to it versus it just being a house. So moving on. First, I'd like to explore what's important to you in your future home. How long have you been looking? What is the reason you've decided to purchase now? Are you working with another realtor or broker? Really important question, because sometimes they're working with multiple, thinking the more agents they have working for them, the better chance they have of finding a home, versus understanding that we all have access to the same MLS. So just gain some clarity if they're working with another agent. If they are you looking to change realtors? If so, may I ask what happened? Or if so, why? We want to find out, hey, my other agent just isn't performing. They don't listen to me. They're not paying attention to what we really want. They're showing us properties that don't match what we're looking for. That's a good sign for you to spend some time digging deep for them. If they say that they are and they're looking to change realtors, it's really important for you to ask them, have you signed any kind of buyer agreement with them? Remember, we're going to ask our clients to sign a buyer rep, broker rep, whatever your state calls it, to commit to working with you. Another agent might have done the same thing. If they have signed a buyer representation, you really need to have them work with that agent to be released from it. Because legally, if they're committed to working with another agent, you show them house and you get them under contract. The other agent who's got a buyer representation signed with them could come after them for commission. So make sure, we've got to be crystal clear with them. Ask them if they are, explain why we need to know. And if they are, we cannot coach them to get out of a contract. We can, however, coach them to have a conversation to see if they want to be released from working with that person officially and move on with you. A couple of important questions to ask. Do you currently own a home? Why is this important? Well, do you need to sell your home prior to making this purchase? Many people can't afford 2 homes at the same time. They don't qualify on the mortgage, or they may be selling and getting equity out of the house that they're currently living in to use towards the purchase of their next home. So it's important, do you need to sell prior to making this purchase? If they don't own a home, do they lease? I mean, we have to do something, right? They may live with a parent, but that's okay. Ask, are you currently in a lease? And if so, when does that lease expire? How much notice do you need to give, right? Some people just think if my lease is up in July, come July 31st, I'm released from my lease. They actually have to give notice. So make sure you're educating them and asking them, when does it expire and when do you need to give notice? Have they currently given notice to their landlord? Next great question. Have you started looking for homes already? How did you see these? Online, internet, open house, other agent? Again, we're digging just a little bit further to make sure that they are not working with another agent. So a lot of people will go out and look at open houses, look online a lot. I would love to say on our website, but a lot of times we're looking at realtor.com or Zillow, looking at inventory shopping online, which is fine. We just want to find out how much have they actually been in homes and who let them in. What is your desired move-in date? This is really important. If my move-in date's 70 days away and our average cycle is taking from identifying to buy our home to closing 35 to 40 days, I need to build that in to educate them that, hey, we need to be under contract by this date if this is your desired move-in date, especially if they're in a lease and they have to move out at a certain date. You want to give yourself some cushion to make sure that you're getting them placed in their new home, closed with time to move out of their other place and not cause problems on the other end. So what's your move-in date? What is your budget? It's a really nice way of saying, what can you afford? How much has a lender told you that you qualify for? So asking this question, you're going to find out they say, I've not spoken to a lender. Okay, great. You know what? I've got a couple lenders that I would like for you to go speak to, so we know exactly what you qualify for. So if they haven't spoken, discuss the importance of them speaking to and getting a pre-approval letter from that lender. If they have, obtain the lender's contact information and ask them for a pre-approval letter. Asking them if they've submitted financials to their lender and have they pulled credit and reviewed your income debt. This is really important. Pre-qualify and pre-approve are two very different things. So a buyer showing up on your doorstep with a pre-qualification is not a great resource for you to use to consider them qualified buyers. And let me tell you why. Anybody can go online and get qualified in about 2 minutes based upon whatever information they put in. So we can be pre-qualified for $1 million based upon how we answer the questions. That's pre-qualify. Pre-approved is where you actually make application with the lender and they will ask you specific questions, how much money you make, what are your bills, what are your debts, they're going to pull your credit, and they're going to compare 1099s, W-2s to what you stated you made to make sure that what you stated and what you're actually making are the same. And they're going to give you what you can qualify for based upon the information that they found out. Now, that's pre-approval. That's a much stronger position than pre-qualified. Pre-approval can still have some hiccups, right? Client usually has to go through underwriting. The house has to meet the qualifications of the loan. So don't get 100% psyched if they tell you they're pre-approved. We still might have a little ways to go. However, it's the strongest thing that we have to ensure that they've actually spoken to, disclosed, had credit pulled, and were advised what they could afford based upon debt to income and what they were earning. So it's really important that you ask for a pre-approval, not a pre-qual. And you're going to find out if you ask, hey, did you submit? Because they may not know the difference between a pre-qual and a pre-approval. So you may want to ask them, so you submitted your financials and that they've pulled your credit and reviewed your income and debt, correct? And if they say no, you know they've been pre-qualified. If they say yes, there's a good chance that they've been pre-approved. Then find out, hey, how much money do you plan on putting down on the home? We want to know if they have no money to put down, we need to get with that lender right away to find out what program they're using to see if they actually do qualify to purchase a home with little to nothing down. Tell me about the home you wish to purchase, just some general criteria. Do you have a preference when the home was built? Some people want new construction. Some people like older homes because they have character or they feel better to them, whatever. Same thing with new. Some people want brand new, it feels good to them. Do you want the home in move-in condition? Or are you willing to do some work on the home? So think about this. You're showing typically pre-owned unless you're going out to new construction. And a lot of times a pre-owned home will need some cosmetic work. So I would ask if they're comfortable doing cosmetic, or are they comfortable doing something where they'd actually totally have to renovate it? Maybe take it down to the studs, or remove sheetrock, remove walls. You want to find out what their level of willingness to work would be in relation to the house that they're going to buy or the home they're going to buy. Simple things like, what kind of flooring do you like? Most people these days want hard surfaces almost everywhere except for bedrooms, but we want to find out, is a swimming pool or hot tub important to you? Any structures that are important to you, like a greenhouse, a shed, separate guest quarters, anything like that. Have you considered new construction? If yes, this is really important. New home construction has changed a lot in the last 3 to 5 years. And depending on the builder, if the client goes without you, some builders will allow them to register you as their agent. Some builders insist that the agent is there on property the first time that the client walks in the door. So this is a really important question and a moment for you to clarify with them. Listen, new construction, I know you can just walk into a sales center. I understand that. Here's what I'm going to ask. I'm going to ask that you call me and tell me which new homes you want to go see, which builders you want to go see. And we can schedule a day where we can go together, builder to builder to builder, because even though it's new construction, you need an agent representing you more than ever when you're working with a new home builder, because the salesperson and the builder are looking out for who? The builder. You need somebody on your side, and explain to them. Some builders do not allow, once you enter and register, to bring an agent in to represent you. You're not saving any money by not having us present. So please tell me which ones you want to go see, and we'll go see them together. And if you've got a great working relationship with the local builder, you can call them and see if they will allow you to register without actually being there. My advice, go with the client. Go with the client. It gets overwhelming at new home construction, and they easily get seduced into just working with the on-site salesperson, not realizing that at that point, they really don't have representation. Structure, exterior, what type of home are you looking for? Single family, duplex, condo, townhouse? What are they looking for? Approximately, what's the size of the home? Square footage? And a lot of times people have no clue, right? If I'm living in a 700 square foot apartment, that's a 1 bedroom, and I want to move into a 3-bedroom home, I don't know that a 3-bedroom could be as small as 1,200 square feet or as large as 3,000 or even larger. So you may just want to ask them, if they don't know about square footage, what's your current space where you are? What if we doubled or tripled that? Just start helping them visualize what that would look like. How many stories is important. Someone like myself, I don't want stairs. I want to live on 1 level. 10 years ago, I loved having a 2-story where bedrooms were on 2nd floor. It's changed. So it's really a personal thing. Ask them what's important to them. What size lot would you like? Okay. I know this sounds like a crazy question. Some people want a really large yard with a lot of space between them and their neighbor, or they want a really large yard so they can set up or build a she shed or a workspace or a casita in their backyard, or they want to add a massive pool, or they just like having a lot of trees and greenery. So talk to them about what size lot they want, and then see if you can find out what type of architectural style they prefer. Meaning, you might want to show them some pictures like, here's a colonial, here's a Tudor, here's an Adobe, here's just try to find out what they're looking for, what appeals to them. Ask them exterior. Do you prefer wood, stucco, brick? What is it that they want? Do you want a porch or a deck? Are you looking for, what are you looking for in terms of garage? Some people love detached. Some people only will do attached. Some people need an oversized because they work on cars or they work on hobbies in the garage. So just check with them. Do you require a fenced yard? Okay, guys, I make the assumption that everybody wants a fenced yard. Not everybody wants a fenced yard. Some people absolutely need one because the children are pets. Other people do not want anything blocking their views. So just ask. Any other exterior features that we haven't discussed? So they may be really hung up on water features. They may be really hung up on viewing nature. They may be really hung up on not seeing any houses around them when they look out onto the backyard. So just ask them if there's anything else. Then let's move to interior. What style do you want the interior of your home to have? Formal, casual, traditional, cozy, contemporary. What does it feel like? Floor plan, split bedrooms. What I mean by that is primary bedroom is on this side of the house, secondary bedrooms are on the other side. They're not in the same area, which provides a little bit of separation from them. Do you like open concept? Some people want the kitchen dining to be open to the living space. Some people like it to be a separate area. People that like to cook a lot sometimes like their kitchen to be separated from their entertaining area. So if the kitchen's dirty, they don't have to see it. In general, what are your likes and dislikes for the interior of your home? People have a pretty good idea. I mean, I promise you, people are watching HGTV. People are typically online before they get to you, and they have an idea of what they like. Bedrooms, how many bedrooms do you need? How will each bedroom be used? I know this sounds like a crazy idea. However, for me, I always want a 3-bedroom because one of those bedrooms is going to be used as an office. So really, I need a 2-bedroom and an office. So a 3-bedroom home would work. So would a 2-bedroom with a den. So make sure you understand why they want the configuration they want and what they will use the rooms for. Any specific preferences for master? That word needs to go away. I apologize. I need to update the script. Any preferences for primary bedroom? So some people want a large primary with a sitting area. Some people like a large primary with a fireplace. Just really check and see what they want for that primary bedroom. Bathrooms, how many bathrooms? And what are your needs for each bathroom? So some folks like the 2 bedrooms to share a connected bathroom. Some want each to have its own ensuite. If you entertain a lot and have guests, you may want each guest to have their own bathroom. Just ask them what's important to them. And the reason I want you to be comfortable with asking these questions is to know why we're asking, because it may seem strange to you. Think, what are your needs for the bathroom? Well, the needs are pretty basic. You need to use a restroom. However, somebody may want their guest to have a private ensuite. Kitchen, what features? Breakfast area, types of appliances, gas, electric, etc. What finishes, types of countertops, flooring, appliances. Some people love stainless, some people hate it. Some people love wood floors in kitchens, some people hate it. Some people love quartz, other people want marble or granite. So just check and see if they have a desire and any likes or dislikes for a kitchen that you need me to know about. Dining room. Do they want a separate dining room? Do they need it to accommodate a certain size table or seating space? A lot of people are moving away from formal dining space and just want a large enough eating space to take care of their family. So ask and see if that's important. Living room, family room. Do you want a formal living space? Fireplace, gas, wood burning. What size room do you need? One large living space versus 2. What type of flooring do you want in those? Location. This is important. What's your favorite area of town? Where do you want to live? What attractions or amenities need to be near? For some people, if they've got health conditions, they want to be near a hospital. Some people want to be near parks. Some people want to be near a lot of amenities, shopping, restaurants, entertainment. So really ask what's important to them. And then an important question to ask is, will you be commuting on a regular basis to and from your home? So a lot has changed in our world in the last couple of years with a lot of people working from home. However, some people are going to the office a couple of days a week. So is a commute to your office important? If you're living an hour away, will that be a problem? Do we need to get you 20 minutes from your office? So just ask. School districts, we're not going to discuss if they're good or bad. We're just going to ask if there's a school district they want to be part of. And if so, you utilize that in our search, and then just please be careful with that and advise that rezoning stuff could happen. What's available today in terms of school zones may not be what happens in a week. So just be clear. We're trying to find a preference. And does it need to be near a specific recreational activity, golf course, tennis, hiking trails, ocean, river, lake, whatever? Any additional items? I think it's really important, now that you've asked them all of these questions, that you spend some time summarizing the top 5 things that are important to them. And then just ask, because you've got them thinking, beyond those 5 things, is there anything else? If you could have something else, what would it be? If you could have one last thing to make this your dream home, what would that be? You're getting them to really share as much as you can with you so you understand when you do your searching for them. What's your preferred method of communication? This is really important. Do you prefer that I text you, email you, call you? And if it's a more than one person buying, so spouses, friends, partners, whatever that looks like, who is their point of contact, or do you want me to send the same message to both? When we identify the perfect home for you, are you prepared to write an offer immediately? This is really important, right? Because we're going to spend some time. And when we find that right home, we need to get them committed to moving forward with an offer. My commitment to you is to find a home that will meet, if not exceed, your needs. We'll focus on what's most important to you as we move forward. Based upon the budget you gave me and your parameters, I feel very confident in finding a great home for you. Okay. That leaves it a little general. Now, if somebody has come to you with a budget that's lower than what you know that they can afford for the neighborhood that they want to be in, you might have to have a conversation right off the bat. Hey, you know what? Based on the budget you gave me and your parameters, we may need to consider some other options than what we've discussed today. The area of Smith Park is currently selling at X amount for homes that would meet your needs. Are you flexible on your budget, location, or home features? Because if they can't afford it, then we either have to change, maybe go from a 4-bedroom to a 2-bedroom, maybe change the level of upgrades that the home has, and to work on price. So just ask. If you know what they're expecting to pay is not realistic, what's happening in the neighborhood, have that conversation up front. You may have friends or family bought homes in the past and are in the process, and they may have looked at dozens of homes. I want to ensure you that this is not the process we will take. In fact, do not be surprised if we find your right home on the first day we look. My goal is to eliminate the homes that will not work for you based upon the information you shared with me. This is really important. A lot of people think that I got to go look at 20, 30 homes before I'm comfortable with the home that I found, and just clearing that up for them, that because of the questions I've asked you, because of the information you've shared with me, I'm really confident that I'm only going to show you homes that meet your needs. And we very well may find your perfect dream home on day one. In addition to prepare to looking at homes, please know that there rarely is the perfect home. I think this is a really important conversation. Even those that choose to build, there's always something that isn't 100%. So I'm going to ask you for your feedback on each home after we've looked at that home. We'll review what worked, what could work, and what does not work for each home we look at or each showing. It's important for us to be this detailed so we can find the right one. Are you ready to move forward in the home buying process with me? Great. Let's review the buyer agreement and get started. Then you get them to sign the buyer rep and you go from there. So you will have a copy of this buyer script. It's really important that you use it for every client that you work with. So that's the buyer consultation. And now here is where you get to really shine as an agent in this program. Your commitments are going to change a little bit moving from today forward. We are going to ask that you have a conversation, two-way conversation about real estate with 3 people starting today. Easiest place to do that is from your database. Speak to, make telephone calls, two-way conversation via text, whatever method you choose to use. However, I'm going to encourage that not more than 50% of your contacts any given day are via text or social media, that half of them are actually done by picking up the phone and calling and starting to get comfortable having conversations with people that you know. I want you to add 3 people to your database. So what that might look like is, hey, I've got somebody on my social media, but I don't have any of their information. So I'm going to reach out to them on social media and ask what is the best way to get in touch with them outside of social media, and add those people to my database. 3 handwritten notes. This is a great, powerful way to get people to know that you're now in real estate. So you could write a handwritten note to people that you haven't seen in a while and just, hey, it's me. I just was thinking about you. Want to let you know I'm now selling real estate. If you ever need to sell, buy, or invest in real estate, please keep me in mind, pop your card in it and send it off to them. What I used to do is, after I talked to 3 people, I would send a handwritten note, just talking about that. So if I talk to Sam Smith, I would write a handwritten note the next day to Sam Smith and just say, Sam, it was so great catching up with you on the phone. Please know that if you ever need anything real estate related, I want to be your go-to person. Thanks so much. Tony Caliendo popped in a card and out it went. Now here's a fun part of what you get to do today. And this is why it's important that you have access to MLS and you have access to your key card, is because we want you to go preview 3 homes today. Why? Couple things. We want you to get really comfortable with the process of selecting the homes in MLS. How do you set the appointment to go view the home? And how do you use your key card? I promise you, the first time you go and show, you're going to have your hands full. Car keys, telephone, and probably some information or a tear sheet from MLS about the property you're going to go see. The first time you go to open up a door, you start to realize you don't have enough hands. So I want you to start to get comfortable with the process of simply opening the door. The other thing I want you to get really comfortable with, and it's something that kind of freaks some agents out, 99% of homeowners have a home alarm. And they are going to give you a code to shut the alarm off. I will tell you, many, many times, the alarm panel is not where it would make the most logical sense. We think it's going to be right next to the entry door. It may not be. It may be across the house by the garage door. It may be only in the primary bedroom where the homeowners go to bed. So just getting some practice on shutting alarms off, looking at the home when you go to preview it, pretend you've got a buyer with you and you're walking someone through the home and you're looking to show it to them through the eyes of a buyer. It's really important that you are comfortable with this process, that you're guiding your clients through the house. In addition, you're going to start to look at homes differently. Stop looking at the decor. Stop. A lot of times as a new agent, we get so enthralled with how beautiful a house is, and we lose sight of, this is a 4-bedroom home. How does it function? Are the bedrooms split? Does it provide privacy? Is this more of an open concept type of living? Start looking at it as a real estate agent, not as somebody who's excited to be in a home, looking at somebody's decorating ideas or tips that made the house look spectacular or made the house not look so great. So previewing properties is great. The other thing that is great about previewing 3 in a row, it helps you learn timing. I remember when I first started showing homes to potential buyers, they wanted to go see, maybe 5 homes. And I would recommend not seeing more than that in any given time. But I had no idea. Like, okay, I set this one appointment at 1 o'clock. How long do I give before I go to the next one? So start practicing with your timing and map out the 3 properties you're going to see. Imagine you're going to spend 10 to 30 minutes in a home. So you're going to have some overlapping appointments, and just get your timing down, because it's really important that you understand how to set your appointments and have the timing done correctly so that your approved show window you meet. So previewing 3 homes sounds like a very basic activity, but I really want you to think deeper onto it. So contact 3 people. When I say that, I mean have a 2-way conversation about real estate with 3 people. Add 3 people to your database, sphere of influence, whatever you want to call it. 3 handwritten notes. Preview 3 homes and get comfortable with that process. Ideally, go preview 3 homes in the area that you intend to sell in, because we want to get familiar. The last thing I'm going to say about previewing homes, it helps educate you about value, because here's what I want you to do. The 3 homes that you preview today are active and available for sale. After you preview them, start watching them and start tracking their journey. Okay, it was on the market for 45 days before it went under contract. It's going to show under contract. It's not going to tell you the price it's under contract for, but it's going to show that it's under contract. And then you're going to watch it go on its journey. Does it make it from under contract to closed? And then when it closes, it will post what sales price it closed at, and it will help you to start to learn value of homes in the neighborhood you're looking to sell in. So that last one is really critical, team. And I'm going to encourage you to make sure that you go and you do all of these activities. These are your commitments for the day, and start to practice that buyer consultation script that we're going to provide for you in a link that you can download, print off, put it in your electronic notebook, whatever you need to do, but practice and become comfortable with it. All right, make it a great day. I know today was a little bit long. We went through a consultation. I just wanted you to understand why we were asking them the questions we were asking them. If you have any questions about anything, reach out to me, reach out to your coach, or bring it up in your hourly group coaching call. It's a great way to learn. I'll talk to you soon. Make it a great day.